Ring ring, it's time for another episode of Crossplay Conversations, the show where we dive deep into the world of video games while keeping it light. I'm your host, Joseph Hooper, and today I am joined by my co-host, the one and only, the Quizmaster, Jacob McCourt.
Yo, did you give me a new moniker? And well,
I
Luke's not
did,
here.
I
He's gonna be
did.
so mad.
Yeah, I switched it up. Sorry, Luke. I'm taking the reins. The one thing Luke said before he left, he said, "Do not let Joseph host this show. It will be pandemonium." And
Hmm.
Luke said, or Jacob said, "Yeah, no problem, Luke. I'll take care of this." And I said,
Yeah.
"Hold on a second. I got this." So today we're going to be talking about a couple different things. We're going to check in on the Switch 2 because Jacob and I both have it. We've been playing it a bit. We'll give our quick thoughts as the icebreaker. But the main meat of this episode is a roundup from Steam Next Fest. So we've been playing a lot of demos, want to talk through them, what we like, what we didn't like, and kind of how that looks like it's going to paint the rest of 2025 and potentially 2026. But like I said, before we get to that, let's talk about the Switch 2. Jacob, you have had the Switch 2 for over a week now. You've had your hands on it. You have your impressions.
Hmm.
Let me hear your initial thoughts so far.
Yeah, I've had my grubby little mitts all over it for over
Mm.
a week.
Oh
You
no.
know what? Nintendo made a safe bet, and they made another Switch. And hey, it is a better one of those. The
That's true.
reason why, like, originally we were supposed to, and we said this in the last episode, that we were going to do a full, hour about the Switch 2, but respectfully, like, I don't think that there's enough here to have an hour long conversation about the Switch 2. Yes, does it look better? Yes, is Mario Kart cool to play? The open world thing is made for children, sure. Is Welcome to Our Game? We can debate that because I don't think it is. I think it's garbage.
Mm.
It's hot garbage that should have been free. But I'm not mad about spending 800, 900 Canadian on it. I don't know how you feel, man. I'm so conflicted.
Yeah, I think all the commentary that I've heard around this, and from the most level-headed opinions, I am kind of in agreement that yeah, the Switch 2, this is a purchase that I have made for the next X years, not
Yes.
this month. If this was a purchase that I was looking forward to get my value out of it immediately, I feel like I'd be pretty disappointed.
Yep.
And that is not a Switch 2 hardware thing. That is more of a Mario Kart slash Switch 2 lineup thing.
Yep.
I think the hardware itself, fantastic. And I think it will kind of withstand the test of time of like, this is a pretty sweet piece of tech. The magnets, Joy Cons, I think is a
Oh,
awesome
so good.
improvement. Really nice. The kickstand, I am a big fan of. And there's just like a lot of little things about the Switch 2, even like the OS,
Hmm.
that I'm like, this is really great. And like, as somebody who, I don't know, all my hours on this are primarily going to be logged playing Nintendo first party games. And I think this
Yes.
is going to be a fantastic Nintendo first party system. Even on the third party side, I think it's going to be a great option for people who want to use this as a primary console or what have you. Um, the Mario Kart side, go listen to player Switch 2 impressions. Like I kind of go in a little bit just because I'm not really that impressed by
Hmm.
Mario Kart.
Hmm.
I'm not the biggest Mario Kart guy. I'm not a Mario Kart sicko by any means.
Hmm.
um, but for a game called Mario Kart World, it is fun, but I don't think it really lands on the world aspect. It doesn't really. um, I guess I don't want to go too much on a rant on this, but I'll put it this way. Like I was talking to Arsene on the Play Play
Hmm.
podcast. Go listen to it. Um, about how every like iteration, almost every iteration on the Switch felt like like a true evolution of some sort of franchise, right?
Hmm.
Obviously,
Hmm.
we had Breath of the Wild,
Hmm.
we had Mario Odyssey,
Yep.
we had even Smash Brothers Ultimate, um, down to Kirby and the Forgotten Land. All of these like classic franchises felt like they were given like this such a transformative experience on the Switch to go along with like this really hot selling piece of hardware. Mario Kart World is like one of the first experiences in this like Switch generation where I feel like not really much has transformed. Like they attempted to, but I feel like it's kind of like shoddy craftsmanship
Yep.
where like the control, like finding stuff is a little like it's not seamless like every other Nintendo first party like tentpole game is. Like everything is not seamless. Everything doesn't feel like a larger than life experience. It just kind
Mhm.
of feels like Mario Kart with like an open world mode on it, which is
I
fine.
mean, even some of the small stuff like the character select screen and how different costumes for different characters are, and again, this is a wildly small nitpick, but how they are separated and not even on the character where you can just like switch between them. There's just a lot of this doesn't feel like you said iterative or necessary to be on a Switch 2. This
Mm-hmm.
could have easily been a Switch 1 game, given that if memory serves, Mario Kart is actually a Wii U game that was then
Mm-hmm.
released on Switch. In my mind, this is a Switch game that probably could have came out 3 years ago, but they were like, "Hey, we're gonna sell 50 million copies of this game, so why don't we just save it for the new hardware where people will go for it?" That's kind of how it felt, and I've been playing it an hour a night with my partner, and I think we've played it maybe 4 or 5 nights for an hour, and we're kind of almost at the point where we're like, I think that
What
we've
else?
we've tapped this. There's nothing else to do because there's not even a traditional first single player mode in this,
Right.
or you can't even free roam with two people. Like there's just a lot of weird. And I don't know if you've had the chance to play it with more than two people, but when
Mm-hmm.
you move to 3 or 4 people, it looks like dog shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The FPS drops. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So yeah, it's just kind of like, and don't get me wrong, the game is fun.
Mhm.
It's fine. Like, and it, I'm sure, I know there's a lot of Mario Kart sickos out there that are over the moon for this.
Mhm.
But when we're talking about a launch title, I know there's debate about like, launch lineups on console releases, and they're not always the best stuff. But I think usually there is some sort of like parity between third party new stuff and first party new stuff that makes the first, month of that console, or like when you actually get that console in your hands, pretty exciting. This one just is like, hey, if you don't like Mario Kart, this is kind of just literally a pro console, which is not the end of the world, but it's unfortunately slightly a disconnect from my hype levels. Now, and I'll get your opinion on this as well,
Mhm.
Jacob. We did see the direct for Donkey Kong Bonanza,
Yeah.
and that game I am infinitely more excited about. That is the
Yep.
transformation of, once again, another franchise that has long been awaiting some like revitalization in Donkey Kong. Like coming to the, I'm saying big screen, but it's like the Switch screen, coming to the
Mhm.
Switch screen in an all new format, like with a whole new coat of paint, even more than a coat of paint, new engine under the hood. Essentially, it looks exciting, looks fantastic, and sure, it looks very similar to Mario Odyssey.
Mhm.
But that's exactly what I want, and I love that it's in a with a new franchise as well. So I'm very excited for that. And if that was a launch title, I think I'd be completely singing a different song about my experience in my first couple weeks with the Switch 2.
Yeah, I want to give the credit to MinMax here because I think they were the ones that said it. But the end of Odyssey, I guess spoilers for Mario Odyssey if you really care. The ending where you take on and you play Bowser, and you
No
kind of
way.
just destroy the environment. They had said that this feels like the natural evolution. Like they took that and they made an entire game out of it. And framing it that way made me even more excited for it because, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, the destructibility reminded me a lot of Red Faction, and if it's anything like that ending of Super Mario Odyssey that I loved, with power ups and different biomes and things to collect and Pauline and the music, the ending, if you watch the direct, there's a Pauline moment where she's singing and the music is great. So that almost felt like a follow up to the New Donk City musical moment from Odyssey 2. So I'm really excited for it, and I question why they didn't launch with it. Like if it's a month out, could they not have? And we know how Nintendo operates. They probably finished Metroid Prime 4 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mario Kart World Tour. Is it called World or World Tour? I don't even know. That's how little I care about it. That game was probably done 2 years ago, right? So I just maybe they wanted two pulses here so they could sell the second month allocation of consoles when they go out to retail. But
Yeah.
I don't understand why you don't launch with that. Why you don't launch with both. But again, I don't work at Nintendo. I don't understand forecasts and hardware and software and blah blah blah. Can I tell
Yeah.
you one thing that is annoying? And I do want to talk about World Welcome Tour in a second.
Oh
But
yeah, sure.
Does game key cards annoy you as much as it annoys me? Because it really, really annoys me.
I mean, I'll allow you to get on your soapbox. I am like already. I've said this probably at least once other time on the podcast. I'm a digital sicko. Like I don't want to carry around. I mean, the Switch is a little bit of an exception because
Mhm.
like I do have a lot of game cards and I got somewhat deals just because the only way you can get a deal is like somebody selling their fucking cartridge secondhand. I don't know if
Yep.
that's probably not really gonna be a thing on
Mhm.
the Switch too. But I don't care because I like having most of my library digital. But I think just the converse it's just a needless conversation because
Mhm.
it's just weird. It's just hella weird. The whole
Yeah.
game key card
Yep.
thing.
It
Go ahead.
seems like it just seems unnecessary. It's why are we essentially putting a game code on a piece of hardware? Just do the thing we did last generation where you just put a code in a box and then nobody buys that, or if it's the same price or on sale then you buy it from retail instead of this weird in between game key card bullshit that it sounds like a lot of those games, third party games, and again, these are all old games, but third parties didn't do particularly well, on Switch 2 game sales. And some retailers, Video Games Plus, specifically on Twitter, had said that they think that game key cards was one of the main reasons for that. But I think you're right. It's not really a it's a tired conversation. I'm just annoyed that we're still doing bullshit like this. Like it just seems so unnecessary. Like what person made this decision to get us to this point?
Yeah, I think it's odd because I think for the most part, and I don't know, like, I don't know the thinking about it because like from my perspective, you either buy physical for a very specific reason or you download it digitally, right? So if you're gonna make the physical games at all, you might as well satisfy the needs of the people that
Mm-hmm.
want that as a product, right? And I get there's still like the value and this is might be the reasoning where it's like there's still value at having physical space on a shelf. So when that parent does go in to pick up their pre-order of the Switch 2, they see a physical game on a shelf and say, I want to get that along with this for my kid just
Mm-hmm.
because that's what parents do. They buy the thing and they're like, okay, what is the kid going to play on the thing? And some people don't know that you can download stuff in
Yeah.
a store. But I think that sect of audience is going to get smaller and smaller.
Yep.
And I don't really understand why this would be a decision to satisfy those people because I feel like that's a little more short sighted. Like
Mm-hmm.
either do the thing or you don't. And or like now they're doing the thing and they're not like you have the option in some case. Like it's just a lot of unneeded rakes are being stepped on in this regard.
Look, if CD Projekt can fit the entirety of Cyberpunk 2077 on a Switch 2 cart, I don't think anyone has the excuse not to do that or not to put a
Yeah,
full game on the cartridge. But again, I'm a physical media sicko, even though I know that when I'm buying the game, I'm just buying a license to that game
right,
that comes on a physical totem, right? So the whole point is moot. Um, but just let me have what I
wait.
want, man.
So let me. I don't even fully understand like the full scope of like how these game key cards work. Let's say I go to Best Buy, I buy a game that has a game key card on it. I play it. I'm done with it. I then cannot give that cartridge to you
Mhm.
to play
I think it works a little bit differently than um
a
like
download code.
a download code where they I'm reading a Reddit thread because I want to make sure that I
Mm,
get this right, but these cartridges will be sold as a key to download a game to the console. There's no
I see.
game data, just an instruction to download the requested game from the eShop. So in my mind it is
Okay.
it is very much it's almost like the Mario Kart code where you redeem it
Mm.
for it's just the actual key is on a cart. So in my mind, you do the key once, you put it in your console, and then that thing you can basically just throw it in the trash because it's not worth anything.
So that game key card is a one use thing, and
I
even when
think
you're
so.
playing the game, it is not required to launch
I
it.
think so because
So
yeah, I think that's how it works. The thing here too is have you played around with the game lending in a family on,
Not yet. No.
again, Nintendo doing the most backwards way to do something simple? I was like, oh, they're about to
Hmm.
do something cool. No, it's dumb and backwards, like all the things that they do.
Yeah.
And so my understanding there is you can then lend within your Nintendo Switch Online family. You could lend that title to somebody else for 14 days. But you could there. I don't think that you can then hand that cart. Like I can't then hand that cart that I used on my console to you.
So this is very similar
We are
in
fully in on this, all of this bullshit. We are in on gaming and we can't even explain it succinctly. Is that not
this
a huge
is
problem?
this is like the Xbox problem where I I as someone who plays a lot of Xbox games and plays a lot of games on Game Pass and everything. Say, oh, play anywhere. This makes sense. You play it and it's there on your PC and Game Pass. You subscribe and you can do. This all makes sense to me. But people are saying, hey, this is confusing. This is confusing. Blah, blah. Nintendo is walking into like these things should just work. Like
Mm-hmm.
these, like you shouldn't really have to fully understand what is going on when you're buying the cartridge. But the fact that there is a very clear difference in how these two things are operating is not a great thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it just makes people's lives harder for no reason. It just causes confusion for no reason. Um, I think the best situations are when things simply just work. And granted, in the grand scheme of things, it might not be that big of a deal. You might buy a game key card, put it in your thing, and it downloads the game or whatever, and you're fine. And even if you don't even need the key card, let's say the kid keeps the key card in every time and thinks that it's working how it's supposed to, sure, it's probably fine. It's just a bunch of like unneeded complexity when they should have just been launched as, hey, this is the feature. Like now iPhones can bump each other and share contact information. Look, we're
Mm-hmm.
doing it right here. This is all you need to know. Who the fuck cares how it's working? It just works. Great, fantastic. And now you can make stickers of your fucking pets and put them in your fucking iMessage. It just works, It's all
Mm-hmm.
random. It's all random nonsense and nobody fucking knows what's going on. But there's a difference between something that is packaged and marketed as something that just works and then what Nintendo is doing and what Xbox does. It's a mess.
So
Uh,
I feel like I need to correct the record here before we move on. It seems like that key is not tied. See, this is such dumb bullshit. The game key card is inserted in the system, and that cues Nintendo to download a copy of the game to the console. It sounds like you need the game key card in your system to use it, but it can be lent to other people either physically or through their dumb virtual game card feature on Nintendo Switch Online.
got it.
So
Oh
let's
wait,
correct the record here.
okay. All right, I have more questions, but you're not Nintendo PR, so I'm not even gonna try to throw these
Yeah.
at you. Uh, and you know what? Fuck it. Talk about Nintendo World Tour. We can't spend any more time on that
No, brother,
aspect of
we
the
cannot.
conversation.
Not let's spend 90 seconds on Welcome Tour, and then we can move
Welcome
on to the
tour.
main meat of this episode.
Thank you. Yes.
Did you play it? Did you buy that garbage?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
Absolutely not.
cool. There's a couple of things on that, like the tech demos and the mini games on that thing that are kind of cool. That either show off things like, you've seen the clickbait articles that are like, you need to spend $1,000 extra to get the full functionality out of Welcome Tour because you need a 4K
Yeah.
TV, you need the camera, you need the Wii Pro controller, or the Switch 2 Pro controller. But there are some cool mini games in there that test the pixels between 4K and 1080p. There's even one where you have to actually move the kickstand, and it can determine the actual angle that the kickstand is at, which I think is like really cool. But the core of the game is actually you just on a giant Switch 2 going to invisible places on the Switch 2 where podiums will pop up when you're on either like a button or a trigger or a feature of the Switch 2, and you have to do that for every individual like part of the Switch 2. So like left Joy-Con, screen, right Joy-Con, the guts. And it's stupid. It's really stupid how they lock your progression. This thing should have been free. This is not a novel take. Just if the progression thing, if you could just explore to your whimsy, I don't think people would have as much issue as they do. But the progression thing makes this like such a tough thing to recommend, even for the most hardcore Nintendo fans that will learn a cool thing or two about the development of this and other Nintendo hardware as they put it, as they play it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just bad. I mean, it just doesn't even have any of the Nintendo charm on it as well. Just like as a product, it doesn't scream like something I should buy. Like it doesn't have that Wii Sports or
Nintendo
that.
Land.
Yeah, nothing about this says, "Oh wow, Nintendo whimsy magic
Mhm.
theme park like style attractions or anything like
It's
that."
like what about the training for your first day at a theme park? That's what Welcome Tour
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Um, one other thing where I'm like, dang, kind of a bummer. I wish we had like an Astrobot experience just so I could at least try out the mouse. Like, I don't want to pay $10 to try out the mouse on
Hmm.
Nintendo Welcome Tour, and I don't even know if I know Donkey Kong Bonanza has the like paint mode outside
Yep.
of the game. I don't know if it uses the mouse in any meaningful way in the main game,
I think there's
but
a two-player mode where you can use the mouse, much like you could use
oh
the
right,
Wiimote in Super Mario Galaxy. Like there's a, I
right,
don't want to call it what they used to call it, girlfriend mode, but
oh right,
an accompaniment mode or a two-player mode, an
yeah.
asynchronous two-player mode.
Yeah, but I remember like having Odyssey, and you could literally do the flick of the Joy-Con to like throw your hat or whatever gimmick. But it was like, oh, cool. This is me using my new device in fun,
Hmm.
cool ways.
Hmm.
The mouse mode being like kind of like the big secret feature, along with the fucking chat button or whatever the hell. Like, but it's really the mouse. Like, it would have been cool for having to have a little more integration. This kind of adds to what you're saying about, yeah, Mario Kart World probably done a long time before they even, maybe before they even fucking knew how they were fully going to integrate this mouse mode. So like, I think Metroid Prime 4 might be the first game where you're really having seeing some like creative integration and like having being able to use it.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's just a little thing where I'm like, I wish there were more applications to this so I could, try it out as soon as I open the Switch up. And I'm not buying Welcome Tour. Don't use that as an example. That doesn't count.
And look, Welcome Tour taught me some cool things where it's actually, instead of having like an optical sensor, it's got a camera on it that actually measures the speed, like it measures pixels and then measures the speed at which you move between pixels in that little camera that's on the left and right Joy-Cons. So thanks, Welcome Tour, for teaching me that and
Oh,
not
what
much
the hell?
more.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. Well, I think that's enough
That's
of
our
the
Switch 2
Switch
episode. We
2.
did it.
Hope you all enjoyed us raving and ranting about the Switch 2. Now let's talk about a couple of games that are near and dear, or maybe far away from our hearts. The Steam Next Fest just wrapped up. There are, I don't know, typically 3 or 4 of these each year,
Mhm.
and they're always the spot to get the pulse on a lot of the cool games that are coming out. Like that is probably one of my favorite things. Like since I've gotten my Steam Deck, a lot of the demos are Steam Deck compatible, and just having this breadth of games on your handheld device or your PC, and playing all these demos, which I think is like honestly a rare sight. Like I'm kind of surprised that consoles don't do more demos than they used to do, especially with games costing more and more now.
Mhm.
I would love for that to come back.
I'm really
But just
shocked
having
that
all these,
Microsoft or Sony has not picked up
I know.
the moment to make their own Steam Next Fest, even if it's once a year. Like it seems so silly not to do it.
It seems like a free home run, but instead Valve is working on it and providing the platform. And there's always like just a breadth of great, awesome games to play and try out during Steam Next Fest. So let's go through and talk about some of ones that stood out to us. And I'll start with you, Jacob. I'll let you talk about a little game called Dead as Disco.
Okay, Dead is
I,
Disco.
I threw you on a little curve. There are a couple. We have a list here, everybody, for a little behind the curtain peek. We have a list. Jacob doesn't know which games I've played, but I know what games Jacob has played. So we're gonna be
I know
jumping
for
around
sure
here.
one of them that we both have played, and I'm excited to
That's
talk
true.
through it. But I
That's
don't
true.
know which
Okay.
ones of these you have played. So, and what we'll do is we'll make sure to include the links in the description. If any of these sound cool, please give them a wish list because it truly helps. Even after Steam Next Fest, it helps. And then I'll make sure and link your player episode where you talk about the Switch 2 as well in the description, so you can find all that there. Dead as
Wait,
Disco, yes.
and this is going to be related, something I recently found out, which I have not fact checked, but I, I, I can't, I don't remember exactly who said it, but there was some conversation happening on like BlueSky of like a clip that I saw. And I think it was from like Rami Ismail,
Mm-hmm.
um, or some indie developer. And they were essentially saying that now wish lists are not all weighted the same anymore, or I don't know how long this has been true, but wish lists are not all related to the same or weighted the same. So apparently, a wish list, let's say today, is not worth the same as a wish list a month before your game releases. I don't
Interesting.
know why that is the case. They didn't really get into it, which is why I'm like, I don't know how true this is. So I'm curious. Maybe we'll come back, or we'll have like an indie dev on to like maybe dive into those details. But I feel like it was one of those clips where people were like, "Oh, everybody in the on the podcast was like shocked," and the person saying was like, "Yeah, man, like they're not all weighted the same." So maybe there's some little shenanigans on Steam Next Fest. Until we confirm that, just go ahead and hit the wish list now, because you're, let's be honest,
Fair.
you're not going to remember a month
Yeah.
before the game comes out, so it doesn't
Especially with
matter.
ones that are coming soon, like this one, the nebulous, like to be announced, to be determined, coming
Oh
soon.
yeah,
What does that even mean?
yeah.
This one's a coming soon. It's from Brain Jar Games, and the thing that I want to sell your way is, what if there was like a neon music Arkham fighter, and that is Disco. The demo is still on Steam now, so if this piqued your interest, I implore you to go and try the demo on Steam. I played the arcade mode, which just is of fighting like round by round. But if you are a fan of Arkham Asylum, this is the closest thing to Arkham Asylum I have played since Arkham Knight. The combat is exactly from blocks and dodges and parries and supers. All that shit's in here, and it just feels so good. And you could tell that there's even a soundtrack in there too, where if the game does end up doing well from a wishlist standpoint, we could potentially get to a point where there's more licensed music. As far as what the um, single player is, it appears to you go on a quest to confront villainous idols and reunite the band. Didn't really get much far into that, but if this core is this good and they build a great game around it, this game is going to be a banger.
Okay, okay. Do
Mhm.
you think, what type of experience is this going to be like? Does it feel like a shorter experience, or do you think that you could sit there for 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours, and like this is going to be a pretty hardy game? Or does it seem like simple but fun?
This seems well. I mean, there is upgrade mechanics and skill points in
Okay.
the single player game, so that tells me that there's going to be some meat. But if this was a 4 to 6 hour experience where like the combat was just dope and we had like a sick like fresh tracks, which we talked about in a previous episode, a scale like that where you have maybe 30 licensed tracks, 4 to 6 hours of levels to go through, that'd be dope. And I do not want more than
Yeah.
that, because you know what happens when indie devs, especially ones, let me just double check this, who this is their first game, you
Yeah.
don't want them to go overboard and then have a
Yeah.
game that is 15 hours and should have been 5.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So that is Dead as Disco,
Yes,
everyone.
sir.
Check it out. Check the demo out. I want to talk about a little game called Voidbreaker. This is a game that was put on my radar by um, a little streamer, a little indie streamer called Andy Cortez. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a YouTube video of Andy Cortez talking about Void Breaker, and I think he had talked about it on some kind of funny content before. So I was like, let me check this out. The premise is that this is a roguelite game where you are being shackled in this like environment by this like giant supercomputer AI thing, and he's using your combat as like training data to like, I don't know, train evil AI that will inevitably take over the world. I don't know, but you're basically stuck in this like by like this environment with a ton of biomes,
Mm-hmm.
fighting like, I don't know, robot enemy type things. And essentially, it's a very interesting game because, um, for one, to add to the discourse of like single developers, X, Y, and Z,
Yep.
blah, blah, blah. The game starts off by like saying, oh, this game was made by a single developer, X, Y, and Z, which almost, it sounds like it's weird because for some reason now, like as of like 2 to 3 months, or not even 2 to 3 months, like as of like 2 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
ever since Expedition 33 came out, it's
Yeah.
like now that's like, it's almost like that's like a edgy thing to say. That's
Yeah.
like, but it's also like, I mean, it literally could just be the truth. Like
Mm-hmm.
this guy could have just made this game by
Mm-hmm.
themselves. Um, the game is kind of crazy though in terms of like fidelity and just how the game feels.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels very premium and modern.
Mm.
I would compare it to like, uh, I know this game didn't end up like delivering like people wanted to, but when the Xbox Series X was first like warming up and people were
Mm-hmm.
talking about launch titles, Bright Memory Infinite was a game that like kept coming up and people were being like, whoa, this game looks so futuristic, this looks next gen, X, Y, and Z, and it turned out to be like nothing that crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But this game feels very good. It looks very good. I played it on my PC with my 4080, and
Mm-hmm.
like it felt fantastic. And there's even like a interesting story aspect to it as well, where it's kind of like you're picking up
Mm-hmm.
weapons, typical roguelike fashion. You're
Is there
choosing between what
crafting
you're
in it
picking.
too?
There is kind of like a crafting element where you are picking up like these mods for your weapons,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to pick between one of three mods. And obviously, the mods may do elemental damage or X, Y, and
Mm-hmm.
Z, increase criticals or whatever. And then there's like this like mystery mod that was all like hacked up, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
glitched out.
Mm-hmm.
I picked it, and then my gun started talking to me like, "Hey, the AI like can't detect me. Don't worry. Like, meet me here. We're gonna get you out of this."
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, you meet this random like guy who uploaded his consciousness to a CPU, and it's like, hey, this AI did the same thing to me that it's doing to you, but I know a way to break out of this. Like, we need to work together. I'm gonna help you. So it's just really weird, kind
So
of
it's High on
like
Life 2 secretly, is what you're saying.
High on Life 2 without the comedy. It's more like a hardcore break the matrix type
Mm-hmm.
vibe, but it felt great. It looked fun. Like it felt fun. The only criticism I would have is it felt fucking hard. Like even on my first run, I'm like, yo, what? Like I'm immediately getting swarmed by enemies, and I'm immediately drowning. Like there was no ramp up.
Mm-hmm.
And also the combat is a little bit different. Like it's an FPS, but the game kind of wants you to do the doom thing of like the enemies need to be stunned first,
Mm-hmm.
and when the enemies are stunned, then you can shoot them for a headshot and kill them with one kill. But to stun them, they either want you to like use this like valve like gravity gun to pick up things
It
and
looks
launch
like
them at the
Half-Life
enemy.
2. That's the thing I was going to say
It
at the
has the
start, that
Half-Life
this,
vibes.
yeah, that's the
They
biggest.
want you to like throw items, or they have this really interesting like environmental destruction angle where you have like infinite grenades,
Mhm.
and they want you to like throw grenades at the roof and have the roof crumbles, like land and kill the enemies, which is cool.
Mhm.
Like, and it seems like it will make for pretty interesting gameplay um in the long run, but it's very hard to wrap your head around at the beginning. And I think, in my opinion, it should be a little slower on the uptake because it's throwing such a unique gameplay style at you. But yes, very Half Life coded for sure.
Um, I see that it does have full controller support, but you know how there are some PC first-person shooters where you're like, I need to play this on a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
This seems like one of them.
Yeah. It definitely feels like, to really, if you want to ramp up quickly, mouse and keyboard would be the way to go.
Hmm.
Unfortunately for me, like whenever I try and do FPS with mouse and keyboard, I'm like set back 10 years of gaming skills because I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
what button is, like, I just can't do it. So
Yep.
I played with controller, and yeah, it's mostly the amount of enemies that are, they are fucking Terminator coming for your ass at high speeds from all directions. And it's also just like meant like figuring out how to stun them and defeat them. But it's cool. Like, if the, I don't know if the demo is out, Jacob. You're
It's
zooming around
still
the
available
internet.
now, and then the game is launching in early access in on August 20th.
Well, there you go, everybody.
Yeah.
Go check it out. If this sounds, if you're not like a big FPS type person, you might as well just skip it. Don't even waste your time. But if you are, check it out. Like,
Yeah.
this could be up your alley.
I felt that so much in my heart when you talked about losing 10 years of gaming skill on a keyboard.
Yeah.
My left hand, I don't know if I've ever said this in a podcast or talked to you about it, but like these two fingers just do not work like they should. And so doing the shift control on a key, I just can't do it. I cannot do it.
Yeah, not gonna happen. So it sounds like we're in the same boat here. So
Yeah,
go
we're
ahead
little
and skip
gamer
Void
babies.
Breaker for me. Yeah. Cool. Next up, this is a game I also played, but I want to hear your thoughts on it. Let's start with a little game called CloverPit.
Dude, CloverPit is my new obsession. I played today for the first time. This comes from Panic Arcade. And is being published by it's not PlayStack. PlayStack's publishing the last game, but it's Future Friends. Future Friends is publishing this one, and it is very much. There's an increasing amount of games these days that is like, you are stuck in room, do this to get out of room, and this is, hey, if you want to get out of this really bad situation, you need to slot machine your way out of it. And so it is a slot machine roguelite where you have a certain number of rounds to hit a coin threshold, and you gain coins by using your tickets to buy items, and then sort of, I don't want to say powering up, but powering up some of the symbols on the reels so that you can get more money. As a person who had a gambling problem when he was younger, I only half kid about that. Played a lot of poker when I was growing up in university. This definitely hit like a specific note with me, where I played like one 30-minute run where I think I got to almost the end, because in the demo you can play, I don't know if it's 4 or 5 different rounds, but if you beat 5 rounds and you get like a special item, but that's really all there is. You can go back and collect some of the items you haven't. But I got to the second to last, or the last round, didn't beat it, fell through the floor, and said, my God, I'm going to have to play this game the second it comes out. I think Panic Arcade, right before this, they made Yellow Taxi Go Room, if I'm not mistaken. And I could weirdly see the DNA between those games, where like some of the text and menuing felt very, and the chaotic nature of the menus felt very Yellow Taxi Go Room coded.
Yeah, this game is like in the not degenerate loophole where it's like, you are literally just gambling virtual currency, but it's not tied to real currency at all. So it's kind of okay. But it also still activates all those same fucking things where you're like, actually, what if I played this RNG game one more time? Like, it's literally the most fucking RNG game, but my fucking little bird brain is like, yo, what if I did it one more time? Like, I'm literally, I'm maxing this shit out. Like, I'm buying all, like, there was a run where I'm buying all the items and I'm still losing. I'm just not hitting anything. And like in my head, it's like, I know there's literally no other strategy I can do but buy the fucking upgrades. But it's also like, I was like, I can do better next time. It's like, what can I do better? I don't know.
I can make my bells have 3 value each, so that then they're worth more when I combo them. I can get the luck pepper that gives me like better luck on my reel. Like, I can hit the button to deploy my items at a specific time. It's Yeah, I definitely got the
It's
itch a little here, and it's been a while since that's happened. Because
so I
Balatro doesn't
also
even do
was
that.
I played this game, I think, well over an hour, maybe
Mm-hmm.
90 minutes. I played this demo for quite a while because I just kept. I was like, I mean, I have to kind of see what happens when I beat the demo,
Mm-hmm.
and then I beat it, and then like nothing really happened. They're like, all right, now buy the full game, sucker. I was like, okay. Um, the only thing is like, I'm like, is there more to this game? Because if there's not much more to this game outside of like more power ups and stuff, and you're just
Mm-hmm.
literally in that room the whole game, it's like I can't in good conscience buy this game and sink
Mm.
fucking how many, I don't know how many hours into this only to say I have nothing to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like I told Amanda, I was like, yeah, this game is so great. Like
Mm-hmm.
my partner Amanda, by the way, for everybody, I don't know if I ever mentioned it on the show, but like I was like, this game is so great. You're literally just pulling a slot machine. I was like, the fun part about it is it's all random. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm-hmm.
who, you don't know like what's gonna happen. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think I'm gonna buy it. And she was like, do not buy that. Like literally, literally don't buy this. And I'm like, but what if I did? And then I sat on it and I was like, wait, actually, what am I doing? So if there's like some sort of like inscription style
Yeah.
progression where like there's some, you leave the room and then you're in another room. Holy shit, it's
Mm-hmm.
like Saw or something. Cool, I'm down. But if it is literally I can play this game for infinite time and just be in this room, that's going to be a problem. I can't go down that rabbit hole.
There's this almost beautiful spectrum in these games where like Balatro's on one end and Inscription's on the other of if it is like almost like story first or if it's gameplay first. Obviously
Yes.
Inscription has incredible gameplay, but like the thing you go to Inscription for is to have your mind blown on the story. And then there's stuff in the middle here that is very good vibes where there's a
Mm-hmm.
loose light story and then there's like solid game. I think of Buckshot Roulette as kind of being right at the center. And I don't know how you feel, but I played the shit and devoured Inscription. I played the shit out of Balatro. I played a couple of hours of, not even, I played 2 or 3 hours of Buckshot and then went, I really enjoyed that. That was sick. What a wild experience, but I didn't come back to it. And
Yeah.
I think what will happen here, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
with CloverPit, I may play it for 3 or 4 hours and go, that was great. I enjoyed that, and kind of like move on. And that's okay.
That is okay, but Jacob, what you're describing is a little thing called self-control, all right? And that's something that I don't necessarily have, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So it won't be a couple hours.
Fair.
I'm going to be like, "Oh shit, they have a fucking poop power up that you only need 1,000,000
Yep.
coins to
Mm-hmm.
get."
Or you
What
could
if I
poop it.
got
You could
that?
poop in the toilet, and that gives
You
you
could
the
poop
poop
in the
power
toilet,
up.
use that, you know, and
Death Stranding also.
I'm gonna spend 10 hours trying to get this fucking dumb Satan power up, or whatever the hell
Mm-hmm.
they have in the shop, and I'm gonna get it, and it's not gonna do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm gonna say, "Wait, can I get my 10 hours back, please?"
No,
And they're
sir.
gonna say
It's for the love
no,
of the game, brother.
and then I'm gonna have a single tear fall down my cheek, and Amanda's gonna tell me I told you so, and that's just I. So yes, for some people, you
Mm-hmm.
can play it for 6 hours and put it down or whatever. I don't know if I'm one of these people. And if you have a gambling addiction, people at home, call 1-800-GAMBLING or whatever the number is.
Mm-hmm.
Don't play this game. Don't buy this game. Even
But
though
hey,
you're
the
not using real money. So
demo's still available now.
this could be like a nicotine type thing where instead of real gambling, you just play this for hours on end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or Nicorette. I don't know.
Can I commandeer the show and pull us in a very
Absolutely.
specific direction next?
Absolutely.
So again, that's CloverPit, Panic Arcade, Future Friends coming out later this year. Demo still on Steam. I want to keep us in the pit, and I want to have us talk about Ball Pit. Did you play Ball Pit?
Ball Pit. I did play Ball Pit. Ball Pit.
Ball Pit is sick.
It's like the next generation of Vampire Survivors type
Yeah,
vibe.
it's like you took Vampire Survivors and Breakout and smashed them together and then added like a layer of town building, base building progression on top. This is something I played for about an hour and went, oh, I'm going to play the shit out of this the second it comes out. This is a Devolver joint. It instead of doing like the traditional Devolver Digital Showcase that they've been doing for the past, I don't know, fucking 10 years, they instead decided to do like a 10-minute like I don't want to say farcical, but they did the showcase thing, but just for one game where they documented Kenny's son, an actor playing Kenny's son, talking about his development journey, and then this game. Um,
What? I
yeah,
completely missed all of this. I
yeah,
did not see any
it
of
was
this.
supposed to be the Devolver Showcase, but instead it was this ball pit 11-minute
Oh,
video. So if
okay.
you want, if you have 11 minutes and you're
I do.
curious, that's probably a good place to start. Go and watch that
Okay.
because it has the same energy as the typical Devolver Showcases, but it shows off the game, and like it's a roguelike breakout. It's got the survivors like where you're collecting gems and improving your balls. You control the way you shoot your
Okay.
balls,
All
and
right.
it just like it's just so much lovely, beautiful dopamine for your brain as the
Yeah.
balls bounce around and defeat enemies, and have powers. They can have electricity powers and fire powers, and you can merge them together to make a super ball. It's just gonna be rad.
Yeah, this is one of those like 6 hour games that I feel like I could like I wasn't so much addicted to it that I'm like, oh, I can't stop playing this. But it was kind of like that Vampire Survivors esque feeling of like, oh, cool. Like it almost seems like there are so many combinations that you can experiment around and play around with here.
Mm-hmm.
That's like every time, and the reward system is fast. It's like literally 100% Vampire Survivors.
Yep.
You're getting rewarded pretty quickly. You're seeing a
Mm-hmm.
lot of cool new combos and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um, and it's just kind of like what if I went a little bit longer? What if I like unlocked or tried out these different combos? How much more powerful could I get? All very interesting. There's also like this like semi management aspect where they're like plant a field, and I was like, I totally missed what you wanted me to do, but I'll just do it for now. I
Yeah.
still don't know what that aspect of the game is. They're like plant this house and the sheriff can come out, and I'm like, who is that? I don't know. So like I don't know where that aspect of the game is, but it seems like they're at least planning for it to have a little more legs
Mm-hmm.
of an experience than like your typical Vampire Survivors. Like, so seems cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed my time with it, and I will dig in the second it comes out, 2025 on this one. And I'm just gonna double check before you jump into your next title here. The demo is still available at the time of recording.
Cool. I want to talk about. I have two games left
Mm-hmm.
specifically, and these were two of my favorite ones from the demo. I'm going to start with Mio Memories in Orbit. This game, I don't even fucking know how to describe what is happening in the game. You're like this orb on a body type beat, and you're like, it's a Metroidvania. Everything
So
happening in the
good.
game. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jacob. This is Jacob nap time section.
Yeah,
Everything
sorry.
happening in the game is very like Ghibli esque in terms of
Mm,
like somebody just made a bunch of shit up and it just is working for some reason.
mm-hmm.
But the vibes on this game, immaculate. The combat is fairly challenging. The exploration piques my sense of wonder where I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm very curious about what's around the next corner. And it's very Nine Souls esque in that way where I'm like, I just want to learn more about this world. I want to level up my character, and it doesn't necessarily feel like it's doing anything completely new,
Mm-hmm.
but it is just that very tight Metroidvania. Um, I'm there was just some magic about this game where I felt like everything worked so well together that I can't wait to play the full title. And specifically the music, absolutely incredible to the point where Amanda, she's got a lot of airtime in this episode, but Amanda was like brushing her
Sitting over your
teeth
shoulder,
across the
watching all your
way.
games. Got it.
She was brushing her teeth across the way, and she's like, what game is that that's
Mm-hmm.
playing?" Because the music
Mm-hmm.
was just like choir. It was just beautiful, and I'm like, damn, these composers this year kind of putting their feet in it in terms of like these soundtracks. Like we're getting
Mm-hmm.
a lot of high quality music. So I'm very excited to jump into that full product and see the full picture and experience that they're putting together for this one. So, and this was a big Jeff Keighley kind of preview as well. So I think there's a lot of hype around it.
The combat kind of looks like, I don't want to, invoke Meat Boy here, but part of this trailer looks like the punishing nature of like a Meat Boy. Is that what you mean when you
Uh,
said punishing? You said punishing?
no, I never. First of all, he's
It
making up
looks
words,
it
everybody.
looks punishing.
It did not feel that way when I played
Okay.
it. Like I think I might have died once, maybe twice, in like what it was like a 2 hour demo or something like that. It didn't feel that punishing. It definitely is a little
2 hour
challenging.
demo.
Yeah, the demo was pretty, maybe 90 minutes, but it was pretty lengthy.
Wow.
And like I got to go through a whole level and fight a boss, and I didn't die on the boss at all. Like, so
Mm.
it's not like, it's like Nine Souls light, and like you're not
Mm.
parrying,
You
but
know
it
what?
is
You
kind
said
of
nine
Souls
souls,
light.
and I that's when I thought
He
punishing.
immediately said punish.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, it's like, it's kind of Souls like, where if you rest and get back your health, all the enemies spawn again.
Mhm.
But not as hard as Nine Souls, at least from what I played. And it's going to be challenging, but I think typical Metroidvania
Upgrades and all
level.
from the
Yeah,
look of it. Cool.
yeah. It seems like you're going to get some. I beat a boss and then got like this new chip that allowed me to like grapple around the map. So it's going to be sick. Yeah, typical Metroidvania upgrade type beat. So
Hmm.
that's Mio Memories in Orbit. Seems like it's going to be a nice, beautiful little game. So I'm very excited
This looks
about it.
like judging from the name of the studio, 12 looks like a French studio, and it's coming from
Shut
Focus
up,
Entertainment,
dang.
so
The
probably French.
French, the French are coming up this year. They're trying to make a name for themselves.
Uh,
As Channing Tatum would
Emmanuel
say.
Macron is just going to be shouting from the rooftops about video games.
Yeah, I know. Jacob, you got a couple on here. Hit me with the one that's calling your name the most.
Let me do like a quick. I can actually go through all of these pretty quickly because they're all kind of like card and dice games to
Yeah.
wrap. So I have a trio of card and dice games. I want to shout out the crew from No Small Games. Emily Merritt did a write up of some of the Balatro likes for this round of Steam Next Fest, and she
Yes.
sent it to me and said, "Jacob, here's my list." And I went, "Well, fuck you, because I'm gonna have to play all of these now." Emily, thanks. And so two that I'll talk about really quickly: Insider Trading and Replicat. They are sort of in the shadow of Balatro, if you will. Insider Trading is a game where your job as a stockbroker is to make the most money possible, and you do so by getting a deck of tiles. Some of them that are positive, that will like make stock price go up, and then some of them are negative, make stock price go down. Your job each round is to decide, because you can gather tokens, and those tokens can be used to move the order of your positives and negatives, of your pluses and minuses. You can even remove some of them, create combos. The goal here is to just make number go up so you can make money and get a promotion. It's a game that just was like relatively simple, but then started to layer on like layers of complexity and other systems on top of it. I played one round and went, it's one of those things where I'm like, this could be an iPad game and I would enjoy this very, very much.
Okay.
So that one was Insider Trading. And then Replicat is one that is Balatro, but like a match, like a tile match game about
Okay.
cats, where you essentially have a 4x4 grid, I believe, and you just have to you have a deck of matched cat cards that all have different point values or powers, and your
Mm-hmm.
job, instead of like drawing them like you would in a traditional Balatro or card game, they're in that 4x4 grid, and you have a certain amount of moves to make sure that you like match your cats to get points.
Ooh.
So definitely a unique spin on it. And then you
Yeah.
can obviously get items. You can get different cards that are different colors that then you can create combos between them. Sometimes you can even get cards, for example, that will like stay flipped until you like pick one that matches it. It definitely seemed cool. It's one of those things where I didn't even get through the one run, where I was just like, cool, I will wait until this game comes out and just play it because it seems rad.
Okay. Okay.
So Insider Trading and Replicat were sort of the two Balatro likes that I took from Emily's list. Shout out the crew at No Small Games for that.
Fantastic. Do you want me to hit you with my last game?
Yes, my friend, because I play this one too.
Ooh, okay. Okay. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. So, the last game on my list, Moonlighter 2. I played a little bit of Moonlighter. Uh, Greg Miller at Kind of Funny put me on to the original Moonlighter, kind of talked it up. I enjoyed it. The concept is you are an adventurer who goes out, explores dungeons, uh, gets all these nice little goods, brings them back, and sells them in your shop for currency. And it's a nice little loop like that. Well, Moonlighter 2, they take it to the next level by making this game 3D.
Mhm.
Very similar to what they're doing with Super Meat Boy, but on a tighter timeline. Moonlighter 2, fantastic. I really, really enjoyed this demo. This was another one where I was like, damn, I don't want to continue playing this demo because I just want to play it when it comes out, but I can't help myself
Mhm.
but to finish the demo. It just enhances that loop from the first game and makes
Mhm.
it even more appetizing. I think the balance is just perfect where it is a roguelite and you are going through the dungeon, you're making your decisions, you're upgrading, but there's also this risk reward system in it
Mhm.
as well, as like you can back out of the dungeon at any time. And as long as you back out of the dungeon, you'll keep all of the artifacts and little things
Mhm.
that you have in your backpack safe so that you can sell them in your shop. But if you die in the dungeon, one, you don't lose all your items because that
Which
would
is
be very
different
gutting.
from the first game, right?
It is. So like the difference is the blow is lessened, but I think the blow is still big enough to where you kind of feel the repercussions of your
Mhm.
decisions, where you keep your items, but all the value of them is halved.
Mhm.
So there were multiple runs where I thought I'll just go a little further, and then I fucking roll onto some
Mhm.
spikes or do something dumb. I die and I lose all my thing, and it's just like, dang, it's like I had so much money. Like,
Mhm.
why did I do that?
Mhm.
And sure, I can still sell in the shop, and I think the shop selling experience is very cathartic,
Yep.
which helps balance out the pain of like losing a run in the dungeon.
Mhm.
Uh, but it's also like, oh dang, I'm only making a fraction of what I could have made if I had all the
Mhm.
full value of my items. So I think the
Mhm.
balance is really nice, and like the story setup is fun and the characters seem like they're going to be good. They gave you a complete lore dump of the first game. I'm like, oh shit, I guess I'll never go back and play the first game because you spoiled the whole
Hold on,
fucking
wait.
thing.
You
Which,
didn't play the first game?
I mean, I didn't finish the first
Oh, you
game
didn't
is what I
finish it.
meant.
I'm like, wait.
Yeah, I
I
didn't finish
think
it.
you. Yeah.
I did play it, but I did not
Mhm.
finish it, which I mean, who do I think I am getting mad at a game for saying what happened at the end of the first game so that I
Yeah.
could get caught up to speed? But I was
Mhm.
like, holy shit, it sounds like a crazy plot twist happened at the end of the first game because this is kind of insane what you're telling me. So, but yeah, long story short, I'm very, very excited to check this one out when it comes, when it releases very soon. I think they said this summer, and I'm sure we have a date at this
I thought
point.
it was July for this one.
Yeah, I think it's next month. So it's right around the corner. And this one I hope gets some recognition, a little more recognition than the first one got.
Mhm.
But I think the people that play it are going to have a good time. Jacob, are you one of those people?
Yeah, so I didn't play through the entire demo. I'm more of a taster when it comes to demos, where I'd rather
Mm-hmm.
play 10 to 20 minutes of like double the demos than like the whole thing. How long was the entire demo on this one?
Oh, I mean, it's kind of up to you because your goal is to make like 5,000 coins in a day.
Mhm.
So it took me probably another like 90 minutes for this one as well, if not.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
played it maybe 20, where I went through the tutorial and then I went to the shop, or I went through the town for the first time, and then I kind of went, "Yup, I know what this game is." I played through the first one in its entirety. Um, I want to know on your PC, because I think your PC is a little more beefy than mine from a GPU
Mm-hmm.
standpoint. It seemed like it needed maybe a little help on the optimization standpoint. I know it's still a demo, that they're still working on it, but I did have a little bit of like hitching in it, and maybe it was my PC, maybe it was my setup, maybe I had something running in the background, but I definitely was like, ooh, I hope this shakes out.
Yeah, I didn't have any performance issues, but I'm always like, hey, if somebody says they're having performance issues, you should probably scale to the lowest common denominator. So,
Hmm.
like, just because I didn't have any issues doesn't mean that it was greatly optimized. So, if
Hmm.
you saw some stuttering and hitching, that is something that's going to need to be ironed out.
Minor, but it definitely made me consider like, one, will I play it on PC? Well, one, I'm not gonna like keep going with this demo. I'll just wait the month
Yeah.
until the game comes out. And
Hmm.
then two, am I gonna play it on an Xbox or a PlayStation or a Switch 2, for example, when it comes out?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we ever gonna go back and play Meat Seeker, which is the game between Moonlighter 1 and this one? I wanted,
Look,
that's like on my pile of shame, and I've wanted to play it for so long.
look, I'm sorry. The ship has sailed. I was not there to jump on that voyage. that voyage is not coming around anytime soon. I'm not playing Mage Seeker. Long story. I mean, there could be an opportunity where it becomes free at some point through Epic. Epic, like the only way I'm playing this is if there's a big sale on it and there's nothing else pressing that I want to play. So I don't think I'll come around to that anytime soon. But it was nice playing the demo like 3 years ago. So
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna retract the July date. It is currently summer is the date that is being shared
summer,
there.
which
So
soon, still should be soon.
very soon.
Maybe they're optimizing.
Maybe they're optimizing, my friend. I have one more, and then we might pull this into the station here. The final game, as I almost spill my drink. Whew! Dead Finger Dice, a billionaire killing game. This is dice poker, 1-bit. Weirdly similar setting to CloverPit, where you are on a ship and you're trapped.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that you wager in this game is a little fucked up, where you're actually putting your fingers in a guillotine and you're cutting your fingers off and using them to as chips in your dice poker game.
Holy shit.
There are different the aesthetic on this thing is wild. It is this thing could have been on Playdate. It is 1-bit. The art looks cool, but then it's got that dice poker layer on top. I played around. There are power ups that you can get, different fingers, whatever. And there appears that there might be a light story involved as well in the full game. But it's one that out of all the games that we've talked about here, there is no one on my list that I want you to look at more than Dead Finger Dice, because it is a weird looking art 1-bit neat little thing.
Yeah. So the full title, Dead Finger Dice, a billionaire killing game. Is it very over the top with billionaires are bad? Like, what's the vibe?
Didn't get far enough in to kind of give you the vibe on the story, but you are
Okay.
the with CloverPit, how you're stuck in a room
Yeah.
on who knows, maybe a ship, whatever. You are given a room on what appears to be like a yacht or a cruise boat, and that is your station where you prepare between rounds of poker.
Mm-hmm.
And that there appears that there is going to be a deeper story, but as far as what that story is, unsure at this stage.
Okay. Wait, how does
Please
that
go
fucking
look
work?
at this game.
Your fingers don't regenerate, right? So.
No, I think you're gaining other fingers
Oh, right. Okay.
on there. So
I
this one
see. I
does not
see.
have a date. The demo is no longer this. I think this is the only one that we've played that the demo is no longer on Steam.
Damn, they're messed up for that. We got to stop taking our demos down. Like, I don't cut it out. All right, just leave it up. It's fine.
Yeah.
I want to play
Although
this.
you can download the demo on itch.
Oh,
So there
I
you
take
go.
it back. You guys are good. Okay, cool. Yeah, this looks interesting. Like, this is the art style is very, very interesting. I'm very curious because I'm from the screenshots that I'm seeing in the Steam store page. It does seem like there's a couple different things going on here. So I'm curious how it all plays out in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, keep an eye out on it.
Joseph, before we close the episode here, can I, I
Yes.
had 2 games listed here. Given
Oh,
that we
yeah.
are already over an hour, I'd only like to talk about one of them, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. I'm
Uh,
chilling.
I I played a little game called Copycat, and
Okay.
I'd love to just talk about it quickly here, because it's a weird little thing that I need to put thoughts into a microphone. So Copycat, this is not a Steam Next Fest game. This is a game that
Mm-hmm.
came out on Steam last year. This came to us from Spoonful of Wonder, and it just released on Xbox and PlayStation. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was, disclosure, I was given a code by the game's publisher on this one, and so played it through on Xbox. It is a game where you play as a cat, and you are taken from a shelter to replace a cat that ran away. Lo and behold, the old cat comes into the house and takes your place and kicks you out, and then you then have to figure a way back into the house. So it's this I think that the narrative is kind of the as a cat owner myself, it was kind
Mm-hmm.
of the most interesting part of this. It's a game seemingly from the Steam reviews that sold really well, like punched above its weight for sales. Like it's got 2,100 reviews on Steam, which tells me, hey, this thing sold pretty well on Steam for
Very
the
positive
cat
too.
sickos, like me. I definitely got punched a couple of times. Um, I think that there's a cool thing that they do with like they take a small Nat Geo direction in this too, where they try and compare you to like a large cat in the wilderness. So sometimes you'll play like
Mm,
a jaguar just running through and hunting, and then you'll then take on the role of this very small cat named Dawn. Um,
interesting.
I struggle with this one in a couple of different dimensions. I think that the camera isn't great. The movement is a bit of a struggle. The faces don't look great. The mini games are repetitive. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Jacob, that's a lot of negative. But look,
That's what I was thinking.
this game's I think I'm gonna write up a written review of this one. I think this game's a 7. It's really like it's almost like the team punched above its weight from like a gameplay aspiration perspective, where they are
Mm-hmm.
building whole neighborhoods, and at one point there's an endless runner, and then there's sort of a fighting game that you play where you're just
Oh.
like inputting commands like you would for DDR to like
Mm-hmm.
swat other cats away. Um, but it's almost like the core of it is not, could have used more time to bake. And
Mm.
so I applaud the team's ambition. I think there's, for the cat owners, for the cat sickos, if you after Stray, if you're looking for another cat game to play, I think that you can't go wrong with Copycat. What's great here is on Steam there is a demo of Copycat, so you can try it out and see like, hey, can I deal with the cat maybe feeling a little bit floaty and the camera being a challenge in tight spaces, if that's the case. And especially if you liked it. Did you ever watch the movie Homeward Bound, my friend? I know you're quite young, but have you seen Homeward Bound? Homeward Bound is
No, sir.
like we take animals way out and they make their way home. That kind of thing happens here, and I got real sad, and I definitely after this game hugged my cat after I finished the game.
Oh,
But for the
okay.
cat sickos, if you need something after Stray and you can put up with a little bit of jank, I think Copycat is cool for the cat sickos.
Okay.
Look for a review
Fantastic.
on the gaming brief. I think I'm gonna write something up about this one because it's been a little while, and I have thoughts. I have things to say.
Okay. Well, there you go. Check out Copycat, everybody. It is on Steam, and there's a demo. Like, it's not a Steam Next Fest game, but if you weren't fully, if you're kind of on the fence, much like this cat is in the trailer that I'm watching, you can download the demo and try it out and see if you, as a cat fan, will pick this up. I, of course, have a dog, so I'm like legally not allowed to buy cat games,
Yeah, sorry, brother,
unfortunately.
you
So
cannot, you cannot. And this one
yeah.
was just released on May 29th on PS5 and Xbox.
Mm,
So if you have one of those consoles, it's there too, and it's hot and fresh out the kitchen there.
perfect.
Thanks for indulging me there, my
Cool.
friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, let's go ahead and bring this choo choo train back to the station. All passengers, please exit at the front. Don't forget your belongings in your seats. Check above the overhead bins. And with that, everybody, I want to set our status to away. And until next, wait. Oh,
You got
sorry.
this, my
This
friend. You got it. You got it.
I'm
You
like
got
I'm
it.
like reading the outro. I'm like all my outro that I just ad libbed, amazing. And then I read the
And then
first
you're
sentence.
like,
I'm like,
oop,
what
gonna
the
read it
fuck?
and go
How
backwards.
dare you, Luke? How dare you? But anyway, we're setting our status to away until next time. But until then, guys, you can do 4 things. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel to get the video version of the show. You can follow us on BlueSky. You can send this podcast to a friend because that's how people hear about podcasts. Or you could give us a review on your podcasting platform of choice because it really helps with visibility. And with that, the what do you call a train operator? The conductor is retiring for the day. I'm going to go play some Return to the Obra Dinn, and then hopefully play Death Stranding and talk about that next episode or in the future. Jacob, what are you gonna go do?
I'm ready to have a little wobbly run in Death Stranding later this week, but before then, I think I want to finish tape 2 of Lost Records Bloom and Rage. So let's hope I can get to that.
Ooh. Maybe we'll have an icebreaker talking about that next episode.
Maybe we
But until
will.
then, we'll talk to you all later. See you later. Bye bye.